The trees aren't nearly as brown and yellow as they're going to be, but and that's one of my favorite aesthetics. I love that brilliant yellow and burnt orange look with the gray sky as a backdrop. I love that. It's really a beautiful aesthetic, and it's one of my happy places. But tonight, you and me, we are sitting together. We had a guest, and I have lost complete track of them. I don't know where they are. And hopefully Alan is well, and I will endeavor to get him back on the show, because I was really looking forward to having a conversation about shortwave radio. So I had to make a last minute switch up over here, and that just means we're going to have a little bit more time for calls. But there's also plenty of subject matter from what's going on. A little bit more on the update with Putin's red line. There is not only is NATO, but the United States government seems to be preparing for mass casualty events. In the second half, I've got a little bit, I've got this 3-minute long clip that our buddy Citizen Lens, shared of Alex Jones from the Tucker Carlson thing, I think last night, where I think Roseanne got into a little bit of trouble again, too. Well, she didn't get into trouble. She just screamed that the Democrat Party had pretty much taken over the government and overtook it. The coup that we've been talking about that happened to thank you all for being here. Wherever you're watching, on quitefrankly.tv, powered by Pilled, which is really the coziest, best place to watch. And then there's YouTube, there's Rumble, there's Rockfin, there is D-Live, Twitch. And, from the beginning, when we were going back to Butler, Pennsylvania, which I just read that Trump is actually going to go back to Butler and have another rally at Butler right there in the same spot, I guess, as like a we're still standing kind of a moment. It's a smart thing to do. It's a pretty good flex. I would do that. I would do that same kind of thing too. But this time, back then I said, hey, this is major Las Vegas territory here. We're not going to get anything that you think. You're going to get stonewalled. We're going to get all this nonsense. We're going to get more viable theories from the internet than we are from official law enforcement. Official law enforcement will just simply give up, like they did with Vegas. In just about a year, they gave up, said we'll never know. But there was one other weird thing about the whole Vegas thing was that like a day after Stephen Paddock's brother went out and spoke with the press or something like that, just to pretty much say that this is very strange, something's not right, and this doesn't sound like anything that his brother would get caught up in. It must not be the whole story. Like the day after that, he was caught with, I don't know, like a terabyte worth of child porn, and there was some kind of I remember a video of them like taking an old computer out of his garage. It looked like it was like a Windows 95 compact Presario. It looked something old. It was just very weird. Just one of those things. Well, the same thing happened with this. Now, this kid's a leftist, so you can't put it past him. But just strange. Another odd thing that you see pop up from time to time. It is all very odd, after all. So that's what ABC is reporting. Son of Ryan Routh accused in Trump assassination attempt, arrested for child pornography. Had hundreds of files, prosecutors said. That's right. So you could just, do with that what you will. Here's one last thing I wanted to cover before we go to the break, and it is from the New York Post as well. A new photo shows a UFO hovering over Canada before it was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet. A newly released image showing a UFO that was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet over Canada in 2023 has added more questions and uncertainty to the object floating over the Yukon. The grainy, blurry image, it's the only ever ones there are, captured the cylindrical suspected balloon 40,000 feet above the Great White North in February 2023, days before it was taken out, according to CTV News. which obtained the image through an information request with Canada's Department of National Defense. A U.S. F-22 shot the object down, which was first tracked flying over Alaska 8 days earlier out of the sky on February 11th, 2023. Officials said the U.S. and Canada began tracking the UFO again when it crossed into Canadian airspace. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau gave the order to shoot it down after 4:50 p.m. An American pilot struck the object with an AIM-9X missile. The airborne object, previously described as a small metallic balloon with a tethered payload, was spotted amid 3 other cases in which North America dealt with unidentified objects in the sky. Between February 10th and 12th, 3 objects were spotted floating over North America before they were downed over Alaska, the Yukon, and Lake Huron, respectively. They were all smaller than the suspected Chinese spy balloon that traveled from Alaska across the United States before it was shot down in Myrtle Beach on February 4th. You remember February of 2023? Everything going on in the air. Incredible stuff. But here's the other thing. This picture right there. Anybody who has spent any time digging into UFOs, especially when it comes to any kind of satellite footage, things that are coming in and out of our atmosphere, you've seen these things before, these little donuts. You've seen these donut objects before. They look like almost like little blood cells. These are like in the same kind of category as the rods. So I look at this and they're like, it's a metallic object with a small payload. I was like, oh, are you sure? Because these look like I've seen these so many times. They look like little lowercase C's. The hell is it? I've seen these a lot over the years. And the fact that they're saying that this is just a cylindrical suspected balloon 40,000 feet above Canada, I don't know. It's I don't know. It was an interesting share. I got to look into some of the other people who do this full time and see what they've said about this thing in particular. Because I remember there was a couple other objects that were down and nobody can find where they were. They said they were probably vaporized and that's why they couldn't be found. The pieces dropped into Lake Huron, so they all just gave up on it. But the fact that we were given that picture, I know I've seen those before. So anyway, thank you guys and gals so much. That is the end of the pre-show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. BRB.
I want you to know that I've smoked pot.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. I do have this. Welcome to the show. It's Quite Frankly. My name is Frank. If this is the first time you're watching, it hopefully won't be the last time. Hopefully you'll come back tomorrow night, the night afterwards, and all of a sudden 15 years will go by, and it'll be like we're friends. You'll introduce me to your family. You'll send me pictures of your children. You'll say that you named them after something over here. His middle name is Frank for you. His middle name is Jesterhead. Here is a contribution from an audience member. And actually, this was, I was reminded about this by Revolution in the chat room. He said, Frank, listen, I'm just throwing this out here, but earlier this year, you had either a guest or a caller. I think it was a caller. He says, I want to say a caller who said that the apocalypse date was going to be September 25th. I put an alert in my calendar back then just for the lulls. I thought it might be worth calling out this week at some point. Well, I saved it for tonight. It's 7:17 p.m. here on the East Coast, September 25th, 2024. So it's almost nighttime in all of the Western Hemisphere, which means it has been September 25th. I don't know. It's already tomorrow in New Zealand. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? People try. There's a lot of you guys and gals have put in some predictions for the year. We're going to get into those in late December. I wrote them all down. You called in, I wrote them down, and we're going to get into them to see how close everybody got. You know, to see how close everybody got. Wow, late December. Think about everything we're going to know in late December of 2024. And then think about everything we're going to know in late December of 2025. My, oh my. So, let's get into it since the world hasn't ended, shall we? All right, the first one up, and we're going to get a little bit into this one later on, but this is on the alternative media edge. What we were discussing in the opening with our talk, in our talk with Jason Burmis, was what's happening with Alex Jones. So the InfoWars liquidation seems to be going through, and there's going to be an auction held. This is from the AP, so you know you can trust it. Judge to approve auctions liquidating Alex Jones's InfoWars to help pay Sandy Hook families. Ridiculous. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. You see, right there. Right there. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. It's clickable. It's probably going to bring you to some kind of hold on. Let me see what kind of a profile you can do. Oh, yes. Oh, an entire page dedicated to all the things, all the reports they did on this despicable character. Anyway, this is the media. All right. These are the subtle ways where it's just, this is who he is, a conspiracy theorist. You know? And, conspiracy theory is a very popular thing. I think it's a very healthy exercise to engage in. No doubt about it. To talk conspiracy and to, because you can't, what's your trust is broken, to hell with it. But his media platform, its assets, will be sold off piece by piece in auctions this fall to pay for the more than $1 billion he owes the relatives of victims of Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting under an order expected to be approved by a federal judge. For what? For killing the children? No. For speaking and saying the wrong thing and having what some would call a very insensitive idea of how things went down, insensitive this and that. It's all about something coming out of somebody's mouth and everybody else. Some people's opinions and some people's feelings have more legal weight than others. And also the fact that this is a figure, whether or not he's the most important figure in the media right now, like Jason Burmis would say, he's definitely up there on the pantheon of alternative media kings. But regardless if it's just about taking him out or if it's about setting a precedent to get us, everybody, and it's not even just people who work in media like I do. It's about people who consume media. Remember, quite a few people had feds knock on their door just because they liked posts. In Europe, people have gone to jail just for liking posts that they didn't, I mean, this is just what it is. So $1 billion he owes everybody because of words in the United States, words. And now they're liquidating that whole thing. What does it mean? I guess we're going to know. Who is going to be auctioning everything off? Will you at home be able to win a microphone, a wind guard? I don't know. What are you going to be able to, a chair? Will you be able to go and put in a bid for one of Alex Jones's Computer chairs. So we'll see what the hell happens here. Despite the pending loss of his company, Jones vows to continue his talk shows through other means, possibly including a new website and his personal social media accounts. He also has suggested that InfoWars assets could be bought by his supporters, allowing him to continue hosting his shows as an employee under the InfoWars brand in their home city of Austin, Texas. Well, yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting if you organize a whole bunch of people to buy back everything that is being auctioned off. Because what are you going to do at that point? What are you going to do at that point? Are you going to now organize a whole bunch of leftist philanthropists to go and buy all of his stuff, in turn incurring the cost of all of his legal woes? You know? I know that people, Open Societies has FU money, and they can go and buy every computer screen, every LED screen in that place 5,000 times over without breaking a sweat. But isn't this all about punishing Jones, both professionally, economically, everything else? So that's something. That's something. How much can you buy back, though? Can you really marshal that much support to go out and get $1 billion worth of stuff, if it even is that? So anyway, we'll keep an eye on this. It's a pretty important story just for the industry, regardless of what you think about Alex Jones. But here's another one, another very important one for the industry. That's not right. Here you go. Sounds like corruption. FCC fast-tracks Soros shortcut purchase of 200-plus radio stations. The recent approval by the Federal Communications Commission of billionaire activist George Soros' acquisition of more than 200 Odyssey radio stations has ignited controversy. According to the New York Post, the FCC adopted an order to approve Soros' purchase of more than 200 radio stations in 40 markets just weeks before the U.S. election in November. This development has prompted allegations from Republican FCC commissioners and lawmakers of straight-up malarkey. According to the Post, the deal was pushed through with a partisan 3-2 vote just before the presidential election, potentially enhancing George Soros' reach over 165 million Americans during a critical time. The deal, which saw Soros funnel $400 million into the bankrupt Odyssey network, has raised concerns because it involves foreign capital that exceeds the typical FCC cap on foreign ownership of U.S. radio stations. This cap is ordinarily set at 25%, but Soros' proposal requests an exemption, of course, urging a swift process adjustment. Critics argue that this fast-tracking bypasses the usual national security checks that are standard for such significant transactions, suggesting an unprecedented move by the FCC. Commissioner Brendan Carr slammed the move, criticizing the FCC for creating what he termed a special Soros shortcut, to which Elon Musk replied, "Sounds like corruption." Can you imagine if Elon Musk did this? Here's a little bit more from another place. Over the last 2 years, Soros funded management. The firm founded Soros Fund Management, the firm founded by the billionaire investor and now controlled by the Open Society Foundations, has become an increasingly key player in the oldest electronic mass media, radio. In February, the company became the largest shareholder in Odyssey, the bankrupt second largest radio company in the U.S. with more than 230 U.S. stations and a podcast arm that includes Cadence 13 and Pineapple Street Studios. In 2022, Soros invested an undisclosed amount in Crooked Media, the liberal podcast network behind the ultra-popular Pod Save America, and a Soros-backed firm played a crucial role in Univision's $60 million sale in 2022 of 18 Hispanic radio stations to a new firm run by veterans of Democrat politics. The deal, which included conservative Cuban powerhouse broadcasters in Miami, drew opposition from Republican members of Congress. So, I mean, it's a quick takeover of local media. It continues because it's so subtly diabolical. Let's just do a little bit more here. Carr was echoed by Nathan Symington, another Republican commissioner who pointed out the irregularities in the approval process. The FCC has a practice of permitting entities temporarily to exceed foreign ownership caps when emerging from bankruptcy. And the majority, over my objection, did so here, but that wasn't the only way in which this item was fast-tracked, he told Fox News. Commission leadership tried to approve the item at the staff level with nothing but a 48-hour notice to commissioners on a summer Friday. There is almost no factual record on the item because there was almost no attempt to do real public interest analysis, Symington continued. Not a single commissioner outside the chairwoman was invited to think about the issue until staff was directed to hand it on to our on our behalf without our votes. That's the true fast track. And in conclusion, the transaction is stirring concerns over potential shifts in media influence. Soros' track record for acquiring media outlets and shifting their editorial directions has been a point of contention, especially concerning conservative radio programming. The Soros Fund Management, however, has stated plans to revisit the FCC for a regular review in the future. And amid these developments, FCC Democrats argue that similar procedural flexibilities have been applied under previous administrations, citing bankruptcy cases like Cumulus Media and iHeartMedia, where foreign ownership limits are temporarily exceeded to facilitate restructuring. So, I mean, you know exactly what's going on here. And like I said before, subtly diabolical, because remember, this is not only about, it's not going to make it just harder for anyone with a decent message to gain airtime. Even that's already, what's the point? But many of these stations will carry very formalized news briefs. These news briefs are syndicated network-wide. That means that these little tiny headlines, like what we saw with the Associated Press talking about Alex Jones, those little tiny subtle prompts about who you're talking about, conspiracy theorist that, far right commentator this and that, whatever. Anything that just sets up a reader to know, okay, you're reading about extremists, you're reading about bad guys, you're reading about, okay, this topic here baked into the story is what you're supposed to think. Here's how you should feel attacked by the far something, okay, by the new something, by the neo somethings. It's all over the place. That's what it's really all about. I pay no attention to people who think, oh, who cares? It's radio. Nobody listens to it. A, people do listen to it. B, it is a technology that should not be monopolized. It is a very, very durable and applicable technology. Very durable. Far more durable than what we're all working with right now. You're listening to me in a digital sphere that obviously dominates the world, and it has shaken things up immensely. It's also very fragile. The internet is very fragile. The airwaves, that's something that anybody could be a player. Obviously, it's very, very regulated, but in a Mad Max situation, you could be a heavy hitter. This is part of the reason why I wanted to talk to Alan Wiener tonight, but just disappeared from the earth. So I'll try to get him on again. Let's see here. FCC just fast-tracked George Soros. Here's a little bit more on that because we can go on. We have a little bit extra time. Take a listen to this.
You've indicated there's a transaction where a Soros-backed group would take ownership of over 200 radio stations across 40 different markets after the FCC originally indicating that transaction could be reviewed and approved at the bureau level without a commission vote. It's now become clear that is a decision before the full commission, and it's one that I would assume now or in the near future the commission would approve. I think what's interesting about it is that the FCC here is not following its normal process for reviewing a transaction. We have established over a number of years one way in which you can get approval from the FCC when you have in excess of 25% foreign ownership, which this transaction does. And it seems to me that the FCC is poised to create, for the first time, an entirely new shortcut.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, how much would you How much would you permit from a media perspective, like buying up airway? When you buy up a radio station, you're buying up airspace, okay? Because that station comes with a license to be able to broadcast within a radius of X amount of miles. You're buying up airspace. You're covering a region, a nation, a world like a blanket. And for any nation to sell off airspace, especially in media, in something that is so influential, that can go so horribly wrong. But of course, they love this guy, and they hate the idea of the United States being exceptional in any way or, autonomous, sovereign. Hate that. What would you do? I would be hesitant to give away more, even anywhere near 5%. Any kind of a foreign buy in radio stations over here. Maybe if it were just like if there was if there's like little communities, like for example, there's like an Irish diaspora or something like that, a Chinatown. You want to give somebody a license to be able to buy up a radio station that covers a few blocks, a couple of miles, because demographically it shows that there is a high concentration of people who would really, like Rai, some kind of a Italian broadcast network. They do it all. It's easier to do with television, especially now that it's mostly cable and you're not dealing with, airwaves that much anymore, though it is still done. But that's just, 25%, even just a quarter of news networks. And to know how politically activist this guy is. And dude, I don't know if you've paid attention to any of these news briefs all over the place. Town hall news briefs, whatever it is, they pop up from time to time, and you're just like, man, to think that this stuff is cookie cutter and it is being broadcast across everything, across all these types of stations across the country. That means that these little headlines that are scripted with precisely chosen words that indicate guilt, like everything I said before, what you're supposed to feel attacked by, who's doing the attacking, all that shit, that ramp up. They ramp up the importance of the legitimacy of controversies that are surrounding political targets, one or another, the legitimacy of the Trump trials in New York City, for example, the breathless way the New York City Trump trials were covered. It's the little things that really matter. If the election is close enough to contest, I know that some people out there are saying Trump landslide, and perhaps in an honest world, yes, for the third time in a row, yes, perhaps. If the election is close enough to contest, who do you think is really going to be covered favorably? To whose benefit will information and context be omitted or amplified? It's just one of those things. And again, I'll say again, can you imagine if Elon Musk made this kind of a purchase? Because George Soros is not only gobbling up hundreds of American radio stations of all sizes. It's not just your local radio stations, which that is the case. So, a George Soros company you're going to be tuning into one of his stations to see if the schools are closed during a snowstorm. But it's also heavy hitters like WFAN in New York. Pretty big. There was rumors, I had it on good authority, in like late 2021, early 2022, that Donald Trump was setting up a Trump Media HQ somewhere in the Carolinas and was looking to buy a chain of radio stations to create almost like a national radio network to invest in all that stuff. Obviously, nothing came of it. I wonder if he was looking into Odyssey stations. And I wonder why that pursuit stopped, because that would have been really great. Really great. I would love to own a radio station one day. Small little thing. Doesn't have to be anything big. I don't know. I got a lot to learn. But we'll do that some other time. Here's another example for you of what this all means. Here's a completely mentally, cognitively disabled woman, Stacey Plaskett. She is a Democrat, and she's talking about security clearances for FBI whistleblowers, and she's stumping for the importance of the FBI and the DOJ and how they do God's work and all that stuff. I want you to listen to these buzzwords that she's going to just diarrhea out of her mouth, because these are the buzzwords that are going to be slipped into every news brief on the Soros network.
What is the point of this subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try, and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached, convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator, Donald Trump.
I mean, she's a retard. So she's got that going for her. But that's how media works. That's all it is. There's nothing there. The DOJ, the FBI, and these people would be the first ones to say we want to get rid of the DOJ and FBI if they actually started doing good police work again. They'd be the first one to say, well, they gotta go. They gotta go. Because when they don't want to expand the Supreme Court, they want to abolish the Supreme Court. You know, it's just one thing or another. Just absolutely crazy. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about NATO. NATO prepares a plan for a huge number of casualties in case of World War III scenario with Russia. There's that. There's also other things, other considerations that are being made by our own government. So the lines will be open after that. 914-200-0269. Don't go nowhere.
Come on. We got to get out of here. Now, right now. Let's go. Must go faster.
Conspiracy.
Who's that nifty new dreamboat that has the dollies flipping their lid?
It's Frankie!
That's right. Join your Made in the Shade host of Quite Frankly. Quite Frankly streams live Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 Eastern, and everywhere you find your favorite podcast. Goose it on over. For everything else, it's quitefrankly.tv.
Frankie! Woo, woo, woo! Dad, I think I am racist.
Nothing wrong with that, Simba.
But Scar said that we are all born equal.
Oh, your uncle identifies as they slash them.
Slash who?
What I'm saying is that your uncle is gay, Simba.
Easy. It's in such an easy plan to map out from the beginning. I mean, even goes back before Kalergi. It is so easy. And you know the other thing here too, which it might be its own night when we come back from our little break over here because I'm going away to Jay Gulinello's Health Retreat tomorrow. And when I get back from that, I would love to do a little bit on what Johnny Vedmore had put out on Eric Weinstein. Now, I had come across an Eric Weinstein video last night that I thought was pretty astute. And I think I might play it tonight because it does go hand in hand with some other things about all of the momentum that Trump has, just, you know, as a grassroots kind of a organic kind of a thing. The kind of crowds that are coming out to see him in places like Pennsylvania and New Jersey. It makes no sense that he wouldn't be completely carrying this one past the goal line with incredible leads. But of course, we know what's possible. We know what is possible. We have seen what is possible. In the face of all things that are true, we have seen what could be done. And but anyway, as far as great replacement goes, holy shit, Johnny Vedmore did some incredible work on Eric Weinstein and his involvement with the United Nations and crafting a very, very literally, I mean, it's a very sophisticated and articulate plan on how to replace populations with, cheap labor from the third world and how to completely target countries for change in that respect. And of course, to hurry along all these ridiculous and dangerous compacts, and visions for the future that the United Nations continues to publish and continues to rally support, either overtly or covertly, from all of their member states around the world, and the captured governments around the world, I should say. Anybody that's over there and treating with the United Nations and going along and signing their name to everything that they throw in their faces obviously has no real love for their country. I can't believe it. Maybe they do, and they're just ignorant. There's possibly that. There's possibly just some very poor, unfortunate souls who are out there representing their country with the best of intentions, believing that they're doing something good for their country at the UN. But that is 193 vassal states for literally Lucifer. Okay? It's just the way it is. But I got to read it. This will be a read one night that we do on the show, and I would love to have done it sooner than later. Who knows? Maybe we got time tonight, but I don't think so. Eric Weinstein. We'll talk about that later on. Great replacement. Stacy Plaskett. Talk about poor, unfortunate souls. Anywho, NATO prepares plan for huge number of casualties in the case of World War III scenario with Russia, as German military says an invasion could happen this decade. What are you going to do about it, Germany? Seriously. NATO's top logistics chief said that the bloc must be prepared for mass casualties. NATO is developing mass evacuation and rescue plans in case of future war with Russia, a senior general has declared. Lieutenant General Alexander Solfrank, the head of NATO's logistics command, it's Daily Mail. I had to take the ad blocks off, and it I don't know. It's horrible. Confirmed this week, the security bloc is working to ensure it has the operational capability to extract large numbers of wounded troops from the front lines. So they're already planning to lose just as badly in an official sense as they have been losing in an unofficial sense through the sock puppet state that is Ukraine. What's the point, you might say? Probably to continue to kill native European boys at huge numbers. So, that's one thing. Like after World War II, entire generation of boys. World War I, entire generation of boys and young men gone. But, there was time afterwards to pick up the pieces, for families to reform, for children to be born again. I don't think they want people doing that this time. I think they want as many people killed as possible. We're already killing ourselves by not having children or not being able to have children. And then when these people are just butchered, there's not going to be any incentive for people to make families and find love or any of that stuff. That's going to be completely decentivized. They're just going to continue to bring people in from the backwater places in the world and call you a racist when you realize how bad things have gotten in a once very stable and beautiful society in the West. NATO is developing that mass thing. The German general warned that unlike allies' experience in Afghanistan and Iraq, an all-out war with Russia would likely see NATO incur heavy losses across a huge battlefield. We know. We've read Baba Vanga's visions, okay? She said well, it's like up to and including Berlin would be burnt to a crisp. What's more, Russia's Air Force and its vaunted rocket and missile stockpiles mean that medical evacuations via aircraft would be too risky, a factor that could force NATO's troops to operate hospital trains to extract the wounded en masse. The challenge will be swiftly ensured high-quality care for, in the worst case, a great number of wounded. Solfrank's warning comes as the German military says it expects Russia to be able to attack a NATO country as soon as 2029. German military says it expects Russia to be able to attack a NATO country as soon as 2029? 5 more years? You think that this could hold out 5 more years? The poking and the prodding? We have 5 more years to wait before something bad happens? This is incredible. This is incredible. This articles like this, releases like this, because obviously Daily Mail is just reporting on what's being made publicly available for everybody. It serves people to start getting used to the idea of getting their own homes bombed, leveled, and incinerated, but also gives them the security of 5 years, as if, okay, well, that would be a bad thing, but at least we have 5 years. So the mind games continue. It's all mind games. At the same time, this happens today. Putin lowers the threshold of nuclear weapons from Zero Hedge in dramatic warning aimed at NATO. At the moment, the West, especially the US and UK, are still mulling whether to allow Ukraine forces to attack Russian territory using NATO-provided long-range missiles. President Vladimir Putin has just issued a hugely significant statement regarding his country's nuclear doctrine. On Wednesday, he very clearly lowered the threshold regarding Russian strategic forces, the uses of nukes. He, in a televised address to Russian Security Council, said nuclear doctrine has been effectively revised in light of the, quote, emergence of new sources of military threats and risks for Russia and our allies, end quote. This is clearly in response to the latest series of escalated cross-border attacks from Ukraine deep into Russian territory. Some of these have threatened to hit Moscow. So he went on to describe that in the event Western powers assist another nation in a major attack on Russian soil, those same Western powers will also be held responsible. This can trigger Russian nuclear launch, according to the new doctrine. This lowers the bar for what can be considered an existential threat against the Russian homeland and its population. So to our friend who called in last night talking about how disturbed he was that his son was given his selective service papers, which everybody receives at 18. No, man. And here's another thing. I asked this question on the air too, probably, I don't know, earlier on in the summer, late spring. If there was another draft, what percentage of Americans would respond? You know, it used to be one of those things where you know, it was almost like one of those, is it a point of pride at this point to say, hell no, I'd rather take prison or flee. I'm not showing up. It's not going to happen. That used to be something that you were almost a little bit ashamed of, to be a draft dodger. Of course, you have to carry that around for the rest of your life. But is it really a shameful thing to draft to dodge any draft that may pop up from here on in? Knowing who is running the world, who is trying to light it on fire, and how they're trying to... hell no, man. I can't imagine that there would be a high turnout. Who would be inspired to go and fight? Who would be inspired? We are needed at home. Every capable young man is needed at home like yesterday. Yesterday, everybody was needed home. And then you have this from the Washington Post. Some things that Congress is mulling over. Scarred by violence, lawmakers plan for possible mass casualty event of their own. Congress must ensure it can continue to govern in the aftermath of mass violence, a bipartisan group of House members argues. Imagine the unthinkable, a mass shooting of members of Congress that leaves a large swath of the country unrepresented. Unrepresented. My representative to Congress was killed. I am unrepresented now in Congress. Listen, I don't want anybody killed. I don't want anybody throwing away their life and giving the powers that be exactly what they want to go out there and wage your own form of kinetic war on Congress. Don't give into it. But let's be honest. Whether they are fired, whether the government is shut down, whether the government is suspended, whether it's a comet, a real virus, anything, we are unrepresented one way or another. There is no representation in Congress. There's a couple of clear-headed voices in there. Jason Burmis brought up Thomas Massey last night. Definitely a clear-headed voice in the wilderness. Definitely not my representative. What are you saying? What, now one person represents 200 million? We were already getting into this. There's no representation in Congress. In the current political environment, such an outbreak of violence is not as unthinkable as it used to be, according to a bipartisan collection of House members. The attempted assassination of members at a congressional baseball team practice in 2017, the violent attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, where only the feds killed people, of course, a dramatic spike in threats against members, and most recently a possible second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump, highlight the need for Congress to ensure it can continue to govern in the aftermath of mass violence, they said. To address the scenario, these 4 House members, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, are pushing an unlikely solution, a constitutional amendment that would allow members to be replaced quickly in the event of mass casualty event. In addition to ensuring uninterrupted representation for the constituents, the amendment would discourage attempts to use violence to sway balance of power in the House. Your state governments are the only thing that matter. That's the only thing that matters. It's really quickly. We need the federal government to be completely stocked. There cannot be one day delay. They're going to start doing vice congressmen, someone that stays home in case the first congressman dies. Just they can be sworn in quickly. An heir, a congressional heir. So they said they have a 300% increase in threats against members. So over here in the United States, they're thinking of ways of how to continue government if somebody starts killing congressmen. And overseas, they're prepping people for the idea that there could be a lot of Europeans killed in the next 5 years, while taking very public steps every day to ensure that Europeans are killed. Like, is that being lost on Europeans right now? If we have anybody in Europe can call in, tell me about what you talk about with your friends. Every once in a while, we are able to get some of these insights. But as time rolls on and we start seeing red lines get a little bit redder, become a little bit more defined, and that the poking and prodding continues, is there more and more Europeans out there that see that regardless of what the media is telling them about the nature of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict in particular, are they seeing that their so-called representatives are actually doing more and more every day to get their European constituents killed? I would like to know about that. It's 7:58. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, the lines will be open, wide open, and then we'll just sprinkle some extras in there along the way. 914-200-0269. I'm about to read your super chats as well. That's quite frankly, superchat.com. QuiteFranklySuperChat.com. Tell me a joke. Tell me something funny. Whatever the hell it is, I'll see you guys in just a second. Hey, want to start your day fresh and stimulate your taste buds at the same time? Try the Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee, brought to you by the Coffee Revolution in Davenport, Iowa. An uplifting mix of Ethiopian, Mexican, and Peruvian estate beans and roasted to first crack. Guaranteed to have you coming back for more. And as if you needed more reason to enjoy a fresh pot, did you know that healthy consumption of caffeine has been linked with longevity, lower risk of cardiovascular disease, boosts progesterone, increases in thyroid function, increases in metabolism, mood, and even testosterone after working out? And here's some free advice. Upon waking, drink at least 12 ounces of water with some sea salt. This will leave you hydrated and energized, and then an hour later, have your first cup of Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee. You will feel like moving mountains and making babies. So choose a smooth, organic light roast with my stupid face on the bag to inject some life into your daily routine. Quite Frankly, Elevation Blend Coffee is linked at the affiliates page on quitefrankly.tv.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button.
Entering, quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, so here we go. I'm just checking in on the Yankees score because it's the Yankees could clinch the division tonight against the Orioles, but of course now they're letting the Orioles win a couple of games after being the worst team in baseball the last month or so. Anyway, it's 3-1 in the bottom of the third. We'll see how that goes. I have some Yankee memories I want to talk about right before we leave the show, because September 25th, it's a very special night in my childhood. September 25th, 1996. We'll do that a little bit later on. All right, let's take some calls. First one up is, King came through. What's going on, King?
Hey, what's happening, man?
How you doing?
I just get something real quick to say. I'm glad you let me be the first caller before anybody else calls in, because past few nights I've been listening, and you asshole faces really need to get your shit together before you call in. You've been annoying a lot of people, especially Frankie, even though he won't say it, but I'll say it for him. So either get your shit together or phone privileges will be revoked. I ain't bullshitting. How you doing, man? I'm
all right. I'm all right, and I hope everything's well with you. You sound like you're fiery tonight. What's on your mind?
Not much. I wanted to call in last night because a lot of boobs been calling in. I don't know how many times you have to say the same things over and over and over again. And these boobs keep doing the same stupid shit when they call in. It's simple stuff.
I've been doing this for almost 20 years. It's going to be 20 years in February of 2026. And I just gotta keep putting the rules out there every night, and I think most people get it.
But you shouldn't have to, man. You shouldn't have to put the rules out there every night.
I think most people.
I understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just to make this point, I understand there's a lot of brain dead motherfuckers out there. All right, but come on, there can't be this many. And here's the thing too: if you whether you're stupid or you're doing this to fuck with Frankie on purpose, both are bad. Cut this shit.
Well, thank you for calling in and being the hallway monitor, King. We need hallway monitors in the world.
All right, my friend. You have a good night.
All right. There you see. Listen, he's just trying to maintain order. Now let's see who calls in and follows all the rules. 470, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, My name's Brandy from Lula, Georgia.
Hey, Brandy from Georgia. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, a little anxious about the election and everything. But you know what? I want to tell you how much I love your show, and I haven't heard from Jim Lee lately. Maybe I love the show you and Jim Lee did. Maybe you could have him on again.
Well, Brandy, thank you so much for that, and thank you for the compliment. I'm happy you're having a good time, and I'm sure you're not alone in feeling a little anxiety about the election night. It's just one of those things that whether even if you're not going to participate in it, it's something that everybody around you is going to participate in. It is a world event that could have some bad or worse. Thank you for the call. Bad or worse consequences. And yeah, Jim Lee, I was speaking with him the other night because I asked him about the UN. I was talking with Jim Lee, was it 2 nights ago or yesterday? I asked him about the UN. He had some really interesting things going on with him. Some of it he can't talk about on air, but I would love to get him back on the show soon. Don't worry, Jim Lee's not too far away. Always have a great time with him. Thank you again. 321, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I love Brandy's accent. That could sue the Lion King.
Brandy, the lady that just called?
Yeah, she could sue the Lion King.
Okay.
Mr. King there. But listen, these guys are so racist, this mafia in the Congress, that they're actually seeding the narrative that they can knock each other off. They're going to pass a bill, which is not a real bill, just the narrative for the sheeple, that, oh, yeah, that's right, they can kill each other, and in 10 days they can replace each other.
Oh, you
How
think,
far
you think that's
have we gone?
Okay, so you think that this is all these Republicans and Democrats 2 and 2 who are coming back talking about this, they're talking about violence against Congress and all that stuff. Do you think that this
Just
is actually
seeding the narrative that they can kill each other?
It's a
complete mafia.
It's a fig leaf, you say. This is this whole idea about a constitutional amendment to replace people, representatives in Congress after mass casualty
10
events.
days they're going to knock each other off. Who's ever in the way of Trump, if you ask me. But anyway.
Okay, well, thank you for the call. There you go. That's it. What do you think about that? Is this a fig leaf for congressmen and women who are essentially saying, hey, let's get this passed because I want to kill that guy. He'll probably kill me. You guys kill him. When they kill you, make sure that you kill them. Everybody kill each other. And let's just have this amendment in place so that as soon as one of us is killed, somebody else takes our place. That sounds ridiculous to me. Absolutely ridiculous. But, theories are theories. What are you going to do? 424, how are you?
Hey, buddy, it's Hollywood Carlos here.
Hello,
How you doing?
Hollywood Carlos.
That sounds ridiculous. Sorry, my TV just went off crazy on me for a second there. I was laughing earlier when you were talking about the Diddy thing because I'm thinking to myself, 1,000 bottles of oil is what they found. There could have been 10,000 bottles. I want to know how big that storage room is.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And to think that 1,000 bottles might have just been what was left.
That's exactly right. That's what I think. I mean, it just makes sense. And who knows what else it might have been laced with.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm really calling about the last call. Just about 5 minutes ago, sounded like a Southern lady. I don't remember her name. She was complimenting you and worried about the election coming up. And I have to say, I am too. And I just wanted to chime in and sort of give a sense of what Hollywood's doing in terms of waking up or not waking up. And I'm getting quite concerned that they're not. Because I see what's going on, obviously, behind the scenes, and nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. The executives, the powers that be, are still chugging along with the agenda. And I've lost a lot of friends. I've been shunned from many groups. And last night, a dear friend of mine, I mean, we've been friends for nearly 20 years. We were roommates at the beginning of my career when I was an assistant. and even into my young, executive years in the beginning, for 7 years, we were so close. And last night I blew a gasket because he's on the Kamala train. And had really intelligent guy, educated, degree, the whole thing. And just has no idea how it really works and what's going on. And just calls us crazies. And that's when he called me crazy on one point we were discussing yesterday, I just lost it on him. And I just gave him a dissertation on how the world really works in a text, and I haven't heard back, likely because he's intelligent, but he doesn't have the intellect.
Right.
It's just baffling to me. Never mind intellect. Let's just get to base human level. Street smarts. No ability to be even curious to question anything. And God forbid you do, and you get attacked. But this is common. This is not just my buddy last night. This is common.
Well, Carlos, let me ask you something. It's one thing to be stuck in a personal, in the pattern of a personal habit, or a place you were, or a place, a way that you were raised, an atmosphere in which that you were educated. Your teachers, whatever the hell the whole atmosphere was when you grew up, the surroundings. Right. It's one thing to be dealing with that, but when you're also in an industry where, at the end of the day, you have to sit down with your accounting department and you have to be able to see, here's what we are spending on the movies that we're putting out, the stories that we're telling. Here are the ratings and the box offices that are coming back. Here's how we're getting panned. I mean, we paid, for example, with Disney, we paid $4 billion to buy the Star Wars property, and now for the first, and we're taking consistent losses now. It's one thing to just be stuck in a personal habit, but when you are shown those numbers, how can you not sober up, at least just for the sake of the business?
I think some people sober up, but you think about it this way: Google, YouTube. We don't really know. They don't make money, but they're still chugging along. It's a propaganda machine. It's part of a propaganda machine. And look, I want to believe that it's changing. And there's people like me. We're still chugging along, and we're doing what we can. And but the agencies and the management companies I talk to, and then I talk to the exec, I still get called crazy, even if I bring up the fact that the vaccines don't work. And I point them toward the direction of the data by the official authorities. And it's something's gone. I don't know what the heck is going on, but I don't understand how everyone's ability to just even be open to reading data that the official authorities put out.
Well, because I'll put here. It might be this, and thank you for the call, Carlos, because I want to. Sure. Yeah, this is a great call.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a when it comes to taking this, what is going on with people? Carlos said it first. These are very educated people. Now, I even saw it with the breakdown on how CNN and other people were trying to come up with ways to explain why they are having such a hard time with non-college educated black men. Why they're having an increasingly hard time getting them to vote for Kamala Harris. Non-college educated black men that are just out there in the world who aren't getting the programming it's really just about programming. Like I saw somebody on Twitter who said, here's your unpopular take for the day. You are not qualified. No one is qualified to homeschool their children. He's a smug, fat Ukraine simp piece of shit. I didn't even jump in there, and he's just sitting there, and he made the entire day of responding to people who are trying to reason with him, but there is no reason there. And the whole idea was that you don't have the ability to successfully and efficiently teach so many disparate subjects to your child to make them fluent in it, or to make them actually in some way, educated in a more rounded sense, which is ridiculous. Because if you talk to anybody that left high school, 5 years, after high school. Ask anybody what they learned in any of their classes with all of their wonderful specialized teachers. Ask anybody about what they learned in class. They'll have dribs and drabs. They'll have some formulas they can go back to. Other than that, it's really just, come on now. It's ridiculous. Throughout the entire way up, getting back to what Carlos was saying about Hollywood and the people that go up there, the very highly educated liberal types and all that, like how, even them, how can you throw in for Kamala Harris or whoever the hell they throw down your throat? How can you ignore all of these things that come out, these reports, the news? How can you spin all of that? Well, the real thing is that A, you're indoctrinated. School has a big, big part in that. People who are overeducated usually don't even have, there's some parts of their being that they just can't, they have no control over. Pre-programming kicks in. The other thing there too is part of that pre-programming and that grooming that goes on in school, especially in higher education levels, is that you're being taught how to read and rationalize news articles that are damning to your cause. Okay? You're being taught to rationalize and explain away why socialist programs are always failing, whose responsibility it really was, how it could be better next time, all that shit. Meanwhile, people on the other side, well, what about the other side? Don't they rationalize them? No. Because when you talk about somebody who's truly getting away from centralized big government mindsets, okay, a statist mindset, because, Republicans are statists, just like Democrats. There are slight differences. There are slight moral differences, religious differences, things like that. But they're all for the central power being a huge regulatory, factor in our lives from cradle to grave. No doubt about it. But if you talk to somebody who is actually opposite of a statist, I mean, there are things that you have to live and die by your failures and your successes. You have to be honest with yourself, because ultimately you don't want anything from anybody else. And you want to be able to live with what you can do for yourself. You want to be out there working for yourself. So, I mean, that's just what it is here. There's a lot of people who are carrying water for a system that they think is going to help them, that it's going to pay them back in some way. They believe in this whole idea of centralizing and taking care of people. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And all of their ideas require other people involuntarily, by mandate, kick in. All right? These people are just mandating. They're stealing. They like the idea of legalized theft. There's a lot of other things that are going on into it. You start burning people in effigy in your mind. All the people in high school you hated, your father, any other kind of parental figure that you want to get back at. You project those people onto your political enemies, and you just want you like when the other side doesn't want to give you their money. You like calling them greedy. Give it to me. Oh, dude, it's very easy. Very easy to understand why a CEO or just your average camera guy, key grip, whatever, from top to bottom, can be caught in these cycles. And education has a lot to do with it. Like I said before, with CNN, they're wondering why they're having a harder time trying to rope in uneducated black males, college, black males who didn't go to college, who seem to be drifting toward Donald Trump. Oh, because there's just that much less programming and grooming that went on there. I mean, college is the domain of the liberal woman, and we already know what kind of shit she brings to the table. All the shit. Even the liberal men are liberal women. All right, let's see here. The line is open, 914-200-0269. Let's take a call, 814. Mitchell. How are you, Mitchell?
Frank.
Yes.
How are we doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. What's on your mind?
Great show. Pennsylvania resident. Just wanted to touch base real quick on two things.
Were you at any of these rallies?
I've been at several rallies. Shapiro signing the bombs is just detestable. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember before the last election, he said there is no possible way that Donald Trump will win this election?
Mm-hmm.
Just, all right, so you know something we don't know. Oh, you mean the voting machines have printers on them? Perfect. But getting back to your last point there on the indoctrination of colleges, right?
Uh-huh.
So my sister was, we were brought up right wing, and you do the right thing. You make your bed, you go to work, you show up on time, you get everything done right. And she went to Gannon and was indoctrinated up in Erie, and now she is a complete leftist and thinks that we're all despicable. And I sold cars while I went to school, and you know what? Working for a living is it's the most respectable thing people can do, and taking care of your family and the friends around you is the most respectable thing that you can ever want to do. And the fact that they don't want us to do that is despicable. I really appreciate your show, and I subscribe to for I don't know what the free subscriber was $25 a month. I love your show, man. Keep it up.
Well, dude, Mitchell, thank you so much. And it's true. There is that whole idea of, there's work ethic. It's something huge. It's a human dignity kind of a thing. And as you can see, it's sometimes and many times, unless you really fortify a child's mind before you send them away to college, it could be like, them being sent through a paper shredder and then coming back home for Thanksgiving. And listen, we talk a lot about school. This is not a very, very unique conversation right now, but as it pertains to why somebody who has achieved such high status in a corporate setting in Hollywood or anywhere else can't break free from what just seems to be the most inane kind of political brainwashing there is. Say, oh, well, you're... And if they turn around on you, I mean, listen, there really is not that much. There's plenty of people who are just MAGA fanatics. They're just fans. And I get that. I know there's a lot of fanaticism, but that's never been me. I get it. I hope that I root for it to do some objectively good things, but hell, there's I don't know. That's just where I'm at right there. But I just don't get how they can see something like that, like Shapiro signing bombs, seeing that this beggar, this drug addict beggar from Ukraine coming in every time. There's like another $8 billion package being put together. This is literally a war party. It's a war platform. It's a platform form of war, of continuing it. And there's just so much there. And everything that they have to respond to it is really just a shot across the bow of both their opponents and their constituents that are very loyal to them, to never wonder why outside of this box. Never wonder why things might be outside of what is acceptable opinion. You can't wonder why. Like that Stacey Plaskett out there. Replacement theory. What the hell do you think is happening with all of the millions of illegal aliens over here? What the hell do you think is happening? They're refugees. From what? Because there's poor countries out there? They're a refugee because they're poor? Plenty of refugees in this country then, without them being here. How about we take care of our refugees? It's just, you have tens of millions coming over. We're not having children. You don't see what's going on. They show up at major American cities and the mayors complain. They give us some lip service. And instead of sending them back across the border the other way, putting them into buses and saying goodbye, they arrange for midnight flights into their county airport, like George Latimer over here in Westchester, who's probably going to be my next House representative. Got to see that guy at the fucking whatchamacall farmers market every Sunday morning, glad handing human trafficking over there at Westchester County Airport. Or these mayors in these cities that, okay, you have an option. Send them back or take over apartment buildings and hotels, kill tourism and anything else that you can make money off of to make your city a thriving metropolis and all that stuff, and turn them into refugee camps and give them EBT cards and have corporate sponsors to feed these people, to give them whatever the hell they need, and to keep them in your city permanently until you can get them working papers, while complaining on the outside about how it's such a stress. But everything you do is ensuring that they never leave. Of course, it's replacement for everybody, black, white, whatever. And eventually that population will get reduced too. It's just about being able to make sure that there is a domestic population that has been supplanted and that there really is no need for even the illusion of the tradition of voting anymore. At least that's what I come up with. There's so many, perhaps you have some other things to say too. I'd like to hear about it. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, I'll show you the 3 minutes that Citizen Lens pulled from the Tucker Carlson show last night with Alex Jones. It's pretty interesting. It's right up my alley. We'll do that in a sec. Don't go anywhere. Just give me a moment. I want to make sure I got everything in line. I do. All right. BRB.
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Had a friend, you looking for a message board? Go to quitefrankly.tv and enter the forum. Engage with official show topic threads or start your own thread. Get signed up. It's that easy. And it's not Reddit, so don't sweat it. For the forum and then so much more. It's quitefrankly.tv. Yeehaw.
Yogi goes into a pizzeria, and they say, Yogi, you want your pizza cut in 6 or 8 slices? He says, 6, I can't eat 8. Huh?
Tell me who played the most prank on you on the field. Pete Suter.
Oh, Pete Suter and Nellie Fox. They put worms in my glove. A snake one time. During the World Series, I could have run right, but the doors were locked in Ebbets Field. And I put the glove, and the snake came out over my hand, and I just took off the.
Suter, you have a phobia about insects, don't you?
Insects,
rats,
anything that. Oh, no, yeah, don't make that.
Little tiny mice.
Oh, jeez.
What about the lobster John Lindell put in the bunk?
Oh, yeah, Johnny Lindell. He
on the trade.
I mean, not only did he put a lobster in there, they used to short sheet him. Have you ever been short sheeted?
Explain it. Explain it.
How they did it, I don't know. And I'm a little guy, and I'm trying to get my foot down, and they had tied it over or something. They put frogs in one night.
He's been down in the basement since it happened. 5 days now. I think he's having some kind of a mental situation. You know, an episode or something.
All right. I said,
hey, you better do something. I don't want to be known as the brother-in-law of the town nut job. I got enough problems already. Oh, shit. I got water all over myself.
Wait, take a listen to this from last night. I think it's pretty nice. We get into chimeras and everything else. Some good Brave New World stuff. Harkens back to a lot of the conversations we were having last spring. Here we go.
Now you hear about the humanized mice that are part human, or salmon that are part grasshopper that grow twice as fast and kill all the real normal salmon. And just, folks, Tucker talks about aliens and absolutely stuff going on. The globalists are making aliens by mixing humans and other animals and insects and plants, and then they put them, they gestate them and use cow uteruses to grow them. This is going on everywhere. So there's like a breakaway whole civilization that's separate from us that the globalists have with life extension technologies and cures to cancer and Parkinson's. But instead of giving us all the cures. They're keeping that for themselves, and they're just getting ready to wipe all us out so we don't even have access to that, whether you think of it as moral or not. But they even had, people didn't believe me when I talked about it when I was reading the documents because we weren't on TV then. I'm reading this on air, and people are thinking that they weren't all getting MIT quarterly. Then MIT, about 7 years ago, look this up, humanoid hybrid chimeras are gestating at facilities across the United States. And it goes on to say, part pig, part human, part cow, part human, so that they won't be rejected by the cows that are growing them. They then harvest the organs, they harvest the stem cells, and they've got facilities now with thousands of cows per facility with humanoids growing in them. And this is in the literature, and they don't like me because I go, here's the literature, but they won't let you on the basis. And let me tell you, with the spider goats 25 years ago, I call up one of the places in New York where they've got spider goats that are part spider. Okay, and their milk makes body armor. And I get the head guy, a private contractor in the Pentagon. He's happy. Like, he comes on. 2 days later, he calls back. He goes, "The Pentagon's really mad. They didn't even tell me it was classified. They're going to kill me if you don't take down that interview." Okay, so you're hearing all this. Look up spider goats, 30-year-old stuff. Okay, all of this. So as good as I tell you stuff is, it's also bad because there's a breakaway civilization that's really in like the year 2045, according to their estimates. They've already got way more advanced AI, everything else. But they can't get full control of the human population yet, because in an hour, if we wanted to tear up all the equipment and the AI systems and shut it down, we could. It's not that it's bad in of itself, it's how it's being deployed against us. That's why they've got to get rid of the farms and the ranches and the gardens and people knowing how to build things and do things. They've got to make us obsolete first, and then they're going to release the real bioweapons that kill the majority of people. That's why COVID was just a drill, and they admit it was, to get us locked down. So when they release the real bioweapon, you just stay at home and die.
Hey, it makes perfect sense. Oh man, when he said the spider goats, I almost lost it. It's just funny when it comes out. But I can only imagine the kind of crazy nightmare stuff that is just floating around in those calamari tanks underground like an Independence Day. And what did I have on this? I think it's all the Antarctica stuff. In October, I have a couple of nights that'll be really fun. I can't wait to do the ghost puncher night with Matt. That's a fun thread. But there's also a couple of Antarctica threads that have to do with the arachnids, kind of arachnid creatures, whether or not they are ancient, they've been here, or they are some of these lab-created aliens that have kind of gone off and done their own thing and made a home of the icy tundra, the icy hell that is Antarctica. So I think of the arachnids, I think about spider goats, it makes complete sense. 720, you're on the air. Who's this?
This is Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Bob. Go ahead.
I with President Trump. He's under COG, continuation of government, that Bush Jr. put out there.
Mm-hmm.
He said that a long time ago because I'm going to use Bush's own authority against himself. So this is why the Senate and the Congress wants another COG, continuation of government. They can't get it. They can't get it.
Well, I mean,
they're afraid.
It's not just
they're afraid.
Yeah, but why do they? I don't understand.
Because he's the deep state. Trump is the deep state. Now,
what? Okay, but I don't.
It's inverted. COG, continuation of government. It's in Cheyenne Mountain. I live right here.
All right.
They never mention NORAD anymore, right?
Okay.
Or we're at DEFCON 3, DEFCON 4, like we did in the 60s. He said there's going to be a missile crisis. I lived through it. In New York.
Right. My question is who cares about having to,
because they're afraid. Jeez, they want a continuation of government for them, not for the people. For the United Corporation.
Okay.
United States Corporation. See what I'm saying?
They're
afraid.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. That was a good one. That was a great conversation. My question is, why do they care? The figurehead Congress for the United States, for us, You know, it was like, oh, we're unrepresented. That's what I'm talking about. Why do they care about replacing anybody like immediately? I mean, we have congressmen that die in office all the time. We have congressmen, congresswomen that die in office. They resign, whatever. There's special elections heard. I mean, I guess they're saying, well, what if they kill all of us at once? I don't. Then start holding special elections. Half of Congress has been killed. Then start holding special elections. It's all about the states. Your state government is everything. But I mean, this is just more so. You have to remember the people who play to the media. Even Congress out there. They've never worked in an environment where they were ever second fiddle to the states. So this is all foreign to them. You know, if all of Congress went away tomorrow, if every last congressman and woman that calls their office, you know, goes to work in Washington, D.C., if they just went away tomorrow, they just disappeared. All of a sudden, they just blip, they're gone. Where the hell did they go? I don't know. They disappeared. It's not even anything violent. They just cease to exist. We're still totally fine. We're fine. We're absolutely fine. It actually might be peaceful for a while, you know? Now, I guess the real issue, I mean, as long as the people who are printing and sending the checks at the Treasury are still there, what the hell does it matter? You have to have the special elections on the state level. Doesn't matter. That's it. So there you go. That's what I don't understand why the rush. The continuation of government thing, I know we've done a lot of things. Cheyenne Mountain, I understand. I couldn't get a word in, but I was being taught something. All right, let's see here. Brother Zoe says, so as a recurring monthly, quite frankly, TV VIP on D Live, does that count me in toward the royal treatment of subscribers too? No. There are 4. I always empty the treasure chest on D Live, but there are 4 ways to subscribe to the monthly, to the show monthly, that allow us to keep track of everybody, get in touch with everybody, and manage perks effectively. We can't do that through D Live. Can't do it through Twitch we're just keeping everything focused on Patreon, Subscribestar, right there through quitefrankly.tv on the sponsor us page, and through pilled.net as well, because they have a good group direct message option. So on Sundays, if you are a subscriber on D-Live, on pilled.net, I mean, you know, in your inbox, the private watch link shows up, the book club links there show up, but those 4 are good enough. I try to focus in on that because they're decent platforms. We can get to everybody in a timely fashion. It's efficient, and I just can't be managing 7. Me and Lauren, I don't know how we do it. I don't know how she and I do it sometimes. Today, I sent out a stack of mail this big, that comprised of pen pal letters, another thick stack of postcards, another stack of Polaroid envelopes, some other just a few thank you cards that we sent out to people who sent really nice things to Aurora for her birthday and shit like that. We do, and we do that every month. It's crazy. So those 4, concentrating on those 4 sites, and it's all on the sponsor us page on quitefrankly.tv, or I think listed under the description of the episode. Let's take another call. 508, you're on the air. Massachusetts?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. Who's
Frank.
this? Hey.
My name is Carl.
Carl?
Can you hear me? Yeah, Carl.
Okay, Carl, go ahead.
So I didn't even see the rest of your show. So I don't have anything to pull on from that, but it's cool to talk to you for a minute. I talked to you one other time last week, or like a few weeks ago or something. But did you enjoy the crispness of the the full moon last week. Like, do you remember that? The niceness.
The niceness of it. I don't know if I don't know if I noticed the niceness of the full moon last week, but I have seen plenty of full moon in my life. And when I do come home, there are some nights on like I don't know what kind of moons they are. They're usually full, but sometimes they're like harvest moons or whatever. But usually on certain times of the year, I'll come home and I'll come down my street, and right over the end of the street, in the horizon, I can see this thing.
Yeah.
It is gigantic and yellow, and it is like it's HD. It looks like you can actually throw a baseball at it and hit it. That's how
it almost looks like another planet, right? It's like not real. It doesn't even look.
Hey, apparently we're getting a second moon. We're getting a second moon for a couple of months, starting like in a week. We got a mini moon that we're going to be.
Oh my!
I know. So there's going to be 2 moons up there. Be on the lookout for it. Is that all you got, Carl? The beauty of the moon?
No, and you're looking at that, and you're down there in South Carolina, right? No, like, I know you're in like New York, but like you're in like Manhattan, whatever. Like, you don't have to like give out your. I'm not asking you to like give out your district or something, but like you're in New York, right? Like New York City or something.
I'm in New York, yes.
So it's like the moon looks like crazy big over there.
What do you get? What is this? What? Yeah, yeah, it does. What? So?
Like when you see it, like it's wild.
I do. You know what? It looks like a big bowl of vanilla ice cream. And sometimes it looks like it has some cherries in it too. The Marias, you know the Maria, you know the dark spots on the moon, the Marias. They look like sometimes it looks like splotches of hot fudge. It looks amazing. You ever think about eating the moon? Like
eating the moon? Yeah, well, I mean, the moon can get pretty big.
No, let me ask you something else. When you ever look at the moon, especially on a night when it's big and yellow, and it does have that traditional cheese kind of look, you ever think about just thinking about just doing something to it or anything like that? Like
not sexually with the moon. No.
You think it's spreadable? Personally. Is the cheese spreadable? The cheese from the moon, is it spreadable? Can we get it onto a Ritz cracker without it breaking, or do we need something like a Triscuit that's a little bit more dense, has a little bit more structure to it? You know,
a little more structure than a Ritz cracker. Yeah,
exactly. The Ritz. Well, anyway, we'll figure that out some other time. Thank you for the call, Carl. I'm just trying to think about that. The Ritz crackers just flake apart. They go away. You know, you have to learn how to hold it, to spear it, and then because then it's breaking apart. I don't know. Carl will figure it out though. Seems like a very interesting guy. All right, let's see. 559. How are you?
I'm good. Let me get you shut up here.
Okay.
You're still on the phone. I mean, you're still talking to somebody else on the phone while I'm talking to you. This is Lynn, and I really don't have anything pertinent to say other than I love you. I love your show. Keep up the good work. I can't remember how I got hooked on Frankly, but I was watching a whole bunch of other stuff when that happened, and now I can barely look at anything else. I have to watch Frank every night.
Well,
for the good content, the music, the chat, the interviews, everything you do is spot on, magnificent. I couldn't say enough good about you. And I'm sorry if not totally sorry though if I've aggravated King, but that's all I called to say.
No, I think King will be very happy with this. I think you came in, you stated your case very clearly, and you didn't have the show on in the background. I think he's going to be very happy with you.
Cool beans. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Wait, what's your name again?
Lynn Winters.
Lynn. Oh, Lynn, we've spoken before.
And Lenny Kenny and Goddess of the Divine, Black Stallion. It depends on what station, what platform you're looking at me at. They make me pick a new name.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Lenny Kenny. Oh my gosh. Hell yeah. This is You've been around for a long, long time now. If you do, though,
I have.
Lynn, if you do remember how you found the show, at least email me to let me know, because I love those Genesis stories, and they're always so different. I mean, sometimes they're just as easy as, oh, well, you popped up on the suggested tab, but every once in a while there's a real banger in there. So if you remember, let me know, please.
Oh my gosh, I hope I can, because if I can, this can be not interesting to you, but me too. I'll definitely share it with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lynn. I love you.
Okay, I love you too.
All right, bye. Shit, cut her off. Always happens that way. Jules from Maryland, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so good to hear from you, and thank you for calling in.
I just called to yank your chain. It seems like everybody's just calling up like old home week of, well, I don't have anything to say, but I just wanted to call and say hi.
I know.
So I thought I'd add myself to that list, because I just really can't add anything to the show, because quite frankly, the show is kind of perfect the way you do it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. And sometimes when we start hitting a groove like this with the calls toward the end of the show, I start wondering why I spent so much time on the news for the first hour and 15 minutes. Because this would have been a lot more, this right here is like chicken soup for the soul. We can go anywhere with this.
Yeah. You never know who's going to be on the other end of that phone. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some numbers start becoming familiar, like the moon cheese guy is trying to call back in.
I was listening to that, and I just thought, oh my goodness,
I don't know.
Please don't ever put me on the blocked list or anything like that.
No. I don't think anybody's on the block list. I don't seriously. I don't think that there's anybody that's been blocked on my phone lines.
Oh, okay.
So.
I try to be good. I try to play along, play nice.
Alrighty.
But anyway, just wanted to hear your voice, say hi on my phone, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Well, thank you, and thank you again on behalf of Aurora, because I know you were one of those people that sent a nice little something for her, and we'll.
Oh, did she get it? She got the card?
No, not yet. I told you in that email. I'm looking. Oh. I'll be on the lookout for it, but I thank you on behalf of her, and when it comes, you'll get something in return. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope somebody didn't swipe it. Because, I made it all cute. But anyway, right. Okay. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Take care. Moon cheese. I never do this for anybody else, but I'll give you a second try tonight. What is it? Were you bringing me to some kind of a flat Earth conclusion, or what were you not so elegantly dragging everybody along for in slow motion? Moon cheese. No, he's not. I don't know. I gave him a chance. He's not there. All right, let's see here. 406. Hello, 406.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, Frank. I love your show. Heard about you through Tim Gordon. Just wanted to call and say that if they killed half of Congress, that would be about half a not bad start. And I would say if they want the rest of their money, they're going to have to finish the job.
Oh my God! Don't see. That's one thing, my friend. If you go and you put that into a handwritten, scribbled note right there with some kind of a dollar amount attached to it for somebody to go to finish the job, the DOJ ain't putting that out. They're not going to release that in 48 hours. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, thankfully I don't have any money, so I can't pay up one way or the other. But love the show. Thanks, Frank.
Well, thank you, and that's great. I love especially people who show up by way of friends like Tim and so many others, and hell yeah. In fact, I put Timothy Gordon's conversation with Father Chad Ripperger into the content for Sunday night. I think I had fallen asleep before it had gone live, so I still have it in my watch later. I have to go watch that, and I'm always thinking of reasons to bring Tim back on. And the holidays are always a nice backstop. One way or another, we're going to have to make this holiday very, very special. It's going to have to happen that way. Let's see. All right, 914-200-0269. Here's a little bit more of I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, going back to the Alex Jones thing. With Jones saying about how they all have cures for cancer, they have the cures for cancer, they have extended life and all that stuff. Some people in that thread came up with a question, a follow-up to that I think is actually, I've asked that many times in my life. Why so many people, like, what level? At what level of the hierarchy do you need to get to before you get that life extending stuff? It's been a long time since I saw somebody who worked for the United States government as some kind of a person who has achieved a prestigious position. So it doesn't surprise me when a member of Congress dies of cancer. It surprises me when the royal family is in anything but perfect health. And you can say that Kate Middleton is, she married into it, but, Charles ain't having such a good time. He ain't having such a good time. Now, there could be several layers of aliens, interdimensional creatures on top of him that make him seem like middle management in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the cosmos. But at what level do you get any of those life-extending things? And that's something I would be interested in hearing. All right, let's take a call. 504, you're on the air. Linda, is this you?
You knew it was me. Yes, it's Linda from New Orleans. How are you doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. Welcome back from New Orleans. So what's on your mind?
Oh, well, like so many other people tonight, really to just say hi and to continue saying that your show keeps outdoing itself. Amazing content. And, I love your eclectic styles of music. When you're going in and out of the intro or the commercial and your beautiful daughter is dancing, I believe the tune is T for Two, that couldn't possibly get any cuter. I mean, that is just absolutely adorable. And just wanted to say, in my area of the world, we're just recovering from Hurricane Francine. I did fine, but I just wanted to send out prayers and good vibes for all the people in Florida who are bracing for what looks like a massive hurricane. And I just wanted to say thank you so much again, because your show is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. And I hope that I'm glad that you're safe down there. And yeah, I have been watching what's going on with this Hurricane Helene. And it says it's going to, when it hits Florida, it's going to be a Category 3. So I'm just, checking that out. It's on the Gulf Coast over here. And I will pay attention to it, though I won't be here for the next 2 days. So, but I'll find little ways to go live. And yeah, whenever I see this now, the first thing I do is say a little prayer. What else can you do at that point? And hopefully everybody in that zone, acts.
Yes. Yes. Well, Frank, thank you so much again. It's such a delight. And my family and I and friends, as I shared before, we absolutely love your show. And there definitely needs to be more of you out there putting out the kind of content that you put out. And also, just one more little thing, you and your wife, Lauren, and your beautiful daughter, Aurora, the three of you make the most beautiful family. So just wanted to say that.
I appreciate you, Linda. Thank you so much, and have a great night.
You too. Thanks, Frank.
Take care. I've got great news for you. I don't have any intention, God willing, of stopping doing this. In fact, I have a lot of great things that I'm working on behind the scenes with some really wonderful people that I trust and love very much. And in 2025, I know I said I was aiming for like a November rollout of new, quite frankly, branding and everything else, and just freshening things up. I'm going to reschedule that. I'm going to focus in on just a nice, fresh 2025 start, and I want to double down, continue to double down on all of that good eclectic stuff. It's got to be that way. What's going to happen? If Trump's going to win, it's not going to be smooth. It's not like Trump wins the next day, the flowers start blooming and everything's fine. He's not even president. He's not president yet. They know that they don't want to lose 4 years. They don't want to lose. There's so much they have to get done now. They don't want any inhibitions, nothing for 4 years. Not another time. So there's been plenty of attempts on his life this year. You think that's going to stop if he becomes president? So that's number one. I don't see this being a very smooth thing one way or another. Win or lose. We're sailing through the fog right now. And in that fog, we need to be able to keep our sanity. And I think we already do a good job with that. But I'm just thinking of ways to just polish things up, add a little chrome over here, and just make it a very nice sailing experience. We're going to sail through the fog. We got to sail five stars. 5-star, let's do that. Let's do top class accommodations. That's what I want to do as far as this show goes. So it'll be a good year, be a good season. That'll lead us into a good year of growth, and it's something I'm excited for. Let's get to the super chats on quitefrankly.tv. Robert Sarnes, thank you. C. Blanche, Porpoiseful. Sentinel says, during a normal week, I consume about 1 to 3 hours of radio per week. Prior to Rush passing, I consumed 10 hours or more. During holiday or vacation, it's back to 5 to 10 hours. The Militia Act of 1792 gives the POTUS the power to mobilize a state militia to put down invasions, insurrections, or threat of invasion. Everyone 18 to 45 conscripted and compelled by their own gun, ammo, and kit. The National Defense Act of 1916 ended time limits and added overseas action. Selective service is the new enrollment into the militia. I'm sure. But the real question is, what's the constitutionality of 17? I talked about the Militia Act. Let's talk about 1792. Let's talk about the Whiskey Rebellion. Let's talk about the constitutionality of that. You know, George Washington did unconstitutional things. I really, really want to get someone like a Brian McClanahan on. I know that Chris Ann would come on for something like this too, but Brian McClanahan is someone I've been petitioning on this particular topic of the Articles of Confederation. I want to talk specifically about that, and I've wanted to talk about it with him. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I can get something going. Thank you, Boys Blanc. Thank you, Tennessee TCB. Shout out to King. I thought of calling in saying Frank answers his own phone. Also, Jim Lee had posted on YouTube that he was deleting all of his social media. I wonder if he's going to be Trump's climate czar. Thanks for all you do, Frank. Wait, what? Hold on a second. Climate viewer. What are we talking about here? Jim Lee. Jim Lee. Climate viewer. All right. Community tab. I'm deleting all my social media accounts except my Telegram chat and my X account. That was 2 weeks ago. Well, it just sounds like he's doing a little bit of consolidating. I don't know where he is other than that. I follow him on YouTube and on Twitter, and then I don't know. If I need him, I text him. So I don't know about that. But does that mean he's getting rid of YouTube as well? I can't imagine so. But we'll see. I'll talk to him sometime because I'd like for him to come back on the air. I think all is well, though, other than that. Filter Dog says, it's Frank. By the way, Tennessee TCB, thank you so much for the EMP. Very, very generous of you. I appreciate you so much on this last night in the studio prior to this weekend trip to Jay's retreat. I can't wait to stream a little bit from there to talk to you about what's going on. Can't wait to just reset a little bit, come back, hopefully with 100% battery life on Monday. You know, after a weekend of eating bull testicles, things usually things level out for the best. Filter Dog 1 says, it's Frank. Braves Piano. Good evening, fellow Franklies. Thank you, C. Blanche. Sleeve from Sean Joe. Tennessee TCB. Shout out to Lynn for the perfect phone call. Absolutely, it was perfect, wasn't it? No Stud, All Muffin. Frank, enjoy your retreat. Come back healthier and happier. God bless. I like it. Thank you, my friends. All right, you know what? That's it. That's all I got for you tonight. Rubino, on Rumble Rant says, I found Frank October 2015 while doing deep dives on the Clintons. October 2015. That means that you found me. Are you sure? Was I already doing YouTube in October of 2015? I mean, I had a YouTube back then, but I think we were still mainly on Ustream. We moved in here in like November. We were already doing construction here by October 2015. They were rebuilding the walls to our specifications in here, the other rooms and stuff. So construction had already ended. I put down the deposit in October 2015. We were in here functional by December. But I wonder if we were already using YouTube as well. I don't know. Valsky says, it's not often that I want to reinforce something that King 40 says, but regarding caller prep, headsets, background volume, amen, King. King was speaking for a lot of people. Jay Semo says, enjoy the retreat. You deserve it. Well, Jay deserves to have a nice, successful retreat. As long as it is safe for me, as long as it's a safe experience and fun. I just want safety and fun and to learn a few things. Gain some inspiration, bring it back, and inject it right into the work that we do every night. That's I'm looking forward to that. And I just hope that tomorrow Aurora wakes up and she is feeling 100% and that she can come. That's because that was my plan. And so we'll see about that. Jane Catherine Barry says, WTF, just looked up FCC chairwoman's husband, Mark Ballin, and found Rolling Stone article with this headline. Revealed, the powerful D.C. attorney quietly defending Alex Jones against Sandy Hook parents. Well, send me the headline if you can. Like, send me the actual thing there. Carlos Ascension says, Hollywood Carlos here, like P did, had more than 1,000 bottles of oil. That's just what they found. What if he had 10,000? They ought already been. That's exactly. Well, you called in, you threw that out there as well. But perfect. You know, what if the 1,000 is just what's been left over? It's just it's a hilarious thought. That's that. Thank you, Stephen and Lori. Says Frank Tribe will miss you. Have a great time. Well, don't worry, I'll be back in a flash, and we will be. We'll be on top of it. No doubt about that. Have a good night, ladies and gents. I will talk to you soon and have a really a blessed evening. Oh, you know what? 9:01. I'll give you one last thing. One last thing. Even though the Yankees are not going to, I don't think they're going to clinch tonight because they're playing like dog shit. They're down by 5, top of the 6th. I mean, anything can happen, but they just usually don't fight back. Let's see here. This night in 1996, it was September 25th, 1996, and the Yankees won the division this night in 1996. And it was a big one. It was a big one for me. I was in 6th grade. This was the first game of a doubleheader. Yankees were playing the Brewers. They were playing the Brewers, and they won this game 19-2. And they would start the second game at like 8:05 that night. It's like an unheard of startup time. They played the second game. They won that game too. But this was the clincher. And it was against the Brewers, and this is all I remember. It was the first thing that they were destined to win, which is something else. You think about all the good years in New York from 96 on until about 2001, of course. But all I remember about this night is the streaming bands of toilet paper. All right? This is all I remember. I want to show you this just for the toilet paper and the confetti. The streaming bands of toilet paper and confetti. In between the viewings of this footage, everything but that toilet paper is a blur. It looked like such a fun time. I remember watching it at home, watching it with my family, with my mom, all those big games in the 90s. But this was so exciting because the year before they had won the first wild card, and this year they really looked special. And I just remember saying, "Wow, what an awesome looking party!" And still, it's just a glimpse into the past. 30 years, and just it looks awesome back through time. And I don't know, it's the 25th of September, all these years later. And could the Yankees come back tonight? I mean, they're going to clinch the division. It would have just been special if they did it tonight, on the night. But that toilet paper, I'll remember that forever. All right. Speaking of toilet paper, it's time for me to go. I'll talk to you later. And thanks for everything. I'll see you guys on Monday, but also be on the lookout because we're going to go live at some point for at least an hour at that retreat over the next few days, maybe around Friday or Saturday. We haven't worked it out. And yeah, it'll be a good time, and I hope that you're all there. Good night, everyone.
I'll catch you on the flip side.